So we continue reading from Sri Isopanishad, Mantra 14. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yastad vedo bhayam saha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutyamritam ashnute. One should know perfectly the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna and his transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes, as well as the temporary material creation with its temporary demigods, men, and animals. When one knows these, he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it. And in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So, this is Mantra 14 of Sri Isopanishad. We'll read the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. By its so-called advancement of knowledge, human civilization has created many material things, including spaceships and atomic energy. Yet it has failed to create a situation in which people need not die, take birth again, become old, or suffer from disease. So we can see when we were small and to now, we really advanced a lot. We have much more facilities, much more comforts. It's much more convenient to do so many things. But now, what have they failed to create? What have we failed to create? A situation in which we do not need to die, take birth again, or become old or disease. We are seeing right now, practically since 2 years, the whole world has been gripped in the fear of disease, of COVID. Yeah, the COVID was not there 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But diseases are coming. So where is the solution to that? Whenever an intelligent man raises the question of these miseries before a so-called scientist, the scientist very cleverly replies that material science is progressing and that ultimately it will be possible to render man deathless, ageless, and diseaseless. Such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature. So a scientist might say that, yes, if we ask them that, oh, why are we dying? I don't want to die. Why do I have to die? I don't want to become old. Why should I become old? And I don't want disease. But they say, yes, we are making research. We are making research. One day it will be possible. One day it will be possible. But then such answers prove the scientist's gross ignorance of material nature. In material nature, everyone is under the stringent laws of matter and must pass through 6 stages of existence. So everyone, each of us in this material body, all the living entities, could be humans, could be animals, trees, bird, fish. We are under the laws of the material energy. We are. There's stringent laws. There's strict laws. And what are the laws? We need to go through 6 stages of existence: birth, growth, maintenance, production of byproducts, deterioration, and finally death. No one in contact with material nature can be beyond these 6 laws of transformation. Therefore, no one, whether demigod, man, animal, or plant, can survive forever in the material world. So we might say, okay, I'm in the human body, that's why I cannot live forever. Let me become Lord Brahma. I will live forever in Lord Brahma's body. No, although Lord Brahma lives a long life according to human calculation, it's about 311 trillion years or something like that, like amazing number of years according to human calculation. But he has to die too. And then what's going to happen in the next birth? Is he going to remain Brahma, or is he going to become somebody else, or some, a bird or a fish? Depends on where we are in our level of consciousness, in our cycle of birth and death. So none of us can survive forever in the material world. So what we are saying, of course, the soul is eternal, but the body, this is concerning that the body cannot survive. So the duration of life varies according to species. Lord Brahma, the chief living being within this material universe, lives for millions and millions of years, while a minute germ lives for some hours only. But no one in the material world can survive eternally. So a germ will have, in the night they are born, and in the full, for our night, they'll be born, they will grow, then they'll have some, produce some children, then they'll grow old and they'll die by the morning. So we can see that practically. And so for Brahmaji also, because time is relative to different species, it acts differently for each of us. Brahmaji is 100 years. He lives for 100 years too. We human beings live for 100 years too, but the time scale is very different. And a minute germ, he's living his own 100 years. For him, for a germ, our human life will be amazing. It will be like millions and millions of germ years. Like we know the dogs, their lifespan is different. So things are born or created under certain conditions. They stay for some time. And if they continue to live, they grow, procreate, gradually dwindle, and finally vanish. According to these laws, even the Brahmas, of which there are millions in different universes, are all liable to death, either today or tomorrow. Therefore, the entire material universe is called Martya Lok, the place of death. It's called, yeah, I think you all must have heard, it's called Mrityu Lok, Martya Lok, means a place of death, this material world, entire material universe. Material scientists and politicians are trying to make this place deathless because they have no information of the deathless spiritual nature. This is due to the ignorance of the Vedic literature, which contains full knowledge confirmed by mature transcendental experience. Unfortunately, modern man is averse to receiving knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures. So material scientists and politicians, they are in fact trying their best that the general population should not hear about Vedic knowledge. They have the propaganda. No need to hear the Vedic knowledge. We don't need the Vedas. We just need modern knowledge. Modern knowledge. So why? Because that's how they can control us. That's how they can dominate over us, become more and more powerful. So from the Vishnu Puran 6.7.61, we receive the following information. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Kshetra Gyakya Tatha Para Avidya Karma Samgyanya Tritya Shaktir Ishyate. Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, possesses different energies known as Para, superior, and Apara. So this is from Vishnu Puran. What is saying? Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. Again, being stressed that the Supreme Lord is a person. He's not just some energy or just some light or just some consciousness or just something vague that you cannot see. But he's a person and he has different energies. And what are these energies broadly classified as? Para, superior, and Apara, inferior. Superior energy and inferior energy. The living entities belong to the superior energy. So we, the living entities, we are superior energy. The material energy in which we are presently entangled is the inferior energy. Now, what is this inferior energy personified by? All the things that we see. The earth, water, air, fire, ether. You know, for example, we see a building. It's just a different combination of these elements, or a car, or anything, our possessions that we are so proud of sometimes. Everything is made by this material energy, and which is inferior. Why is it inferior? Why is material energy inferior than the living entity? Because the living entity is conscious. The things that we buy or we own or possess, they are all material, they're dead matter. They don't have consciousness. Our car cannot clean by itself. Our house can't clean by itself. It's just dead matter. This body is also dead matter. It appears to be living till the time that we, the soul, are inside the body. Once we leave the body, it will be called a dead body. Oh, the dead body is lying there. Or the body is there. Or the body is coming. Like that. The material creation is made possible by this energy, which covers the living entities with ignorance, avidya, and induces them to perform fruitive activities. So right now, we are covered by this avidya, ignorance. What is that ignorance? We think we are the body. We think we are the body, and that's the reason we act to make the body as comfortable as possible. Yet there is another part of the Lord's superior energy that is different from both this material, inferior energy and the living entities. That superior energy constitutes the eternal, deathless abode of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 20. So we think that this is all in all, this material nature is all in all. But no, there is a spiritual world which is eternal. There is no birth, death, old age, disease over there. No one becomes old there. No one dies there. Nobody gets sick over there. There's no birth because everyone's eternal. Eternal. So that is in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto avyaktat sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. All the material planets, upper, lower, and intermediate, including the sun, moon, and Venus, are scattered throughout the universe. These planets exist only during the lifetime of Brahma. Some lower planets, however, are vanquished after the end of one day of Brahma and are again created during the next day of Brahma. So we had been reading in Bhagavatam, it's more detailed, informed in Bhagavatam, how there are 14 different planetary systems. They are the lower planetary systems, the hellish planets. Then there are the middle, the earthly planets. And then there is the higher planets. So the sun, the moon, the Venus, Mars, all the Jupiter, all that is still within the material world. It's within this material universe. And all this material, this universe exists only till the time Lord Brahma lives. Lord Brahma lives for 100 years. At the end of this 100 years, this universe is going to be devastated, gone back into the body of Mahavishnu. But we, the souls, we are eternal. We are never going to be killed. We are never killed. We just lie in the sleeping state in the body of Mahavishnu. Then again, when the creation happens, again we start doing our activities. And so the proposal is, instead of being born and dying like that, go back to the spiritual world. Be situated in our own eternal position, original position. And so when Brahmaji sleeps at night, the lower planets up from, so all the hellish planet, Patal, Sutal, Talatal, all this, and the earthly planets, and even the Swarglok, they are devastated. But the higher planetary systems remain, like the Maharlok, Tapalok, Janalok, Brahmalok, they remain during Brahma's night. Then he wakes up the next morning, again the creation takes place. Then again, all this, the hellish planets are created, the earthly planets are created, the Swarglok is created. Is more detail described in Bhagavatam. On the upper planets, time is calculated differently. One of our years is equal to only 24 hours or 1 day and night on many of the upper planets. So time, we have been saying time is calculated differently. It's relative to the body that we are in. To the body that we are in. We can see even on the same planet, as we said, the time is different for a dog or a germ or a human being. How each goes under the full life cycle in that time. So the 4 ages of Earth, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, last only 12,000 years according to the time scale of the upper planets. So for us, Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and Kali Yug, it is about 4,320,000 years of human calculation. But on the upper planets, it's only 12,000 years. So where is 12,000? Where's 4,320,000? So different. Such a length of time multiplied by 1,000 constitutes one day of Brahma. And one night of Brahma is the same. So in Brahma's one day, this Yuga, Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapara Yug, and Kali Yug, these 4 cycles are there 1,000 times. And that's only his day. And in his night also, these cycles are there 1,000 times. Such days and nights accumulate into months and years, and Brahma lives for 100 such years. At the end of Brahma's life, the complete universal manifestation is vanquished. We can see we don't even survive the full Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. This Kali Yuga that we are in right now, we will live our own whatever 100 years, even if 100 years. But Brahmaji, he lives for an unimaginably long period of time according to our calculation. But he dies also. He dies, and when he dies, this whole universe that we are in, it's vanquished. Those living beings who reside on higher planets like the sun and the moon, as well as those on Martyalok, this earth planet, and also those who live on lower planets, are all merged into the waters of devastation during the night of Brahma. So as we said, the lower planetary systems up to the heavenly planets, they're all devastated. So what happens? Everyone is merged in the Garbhodaka ocean, waters of devastation. This universe is half filled with the Garbhodaka ocean. So during this time, no living beings or species remain manifest. Although spiritually, they continue to exist. So does it mean that we don't exist anymore when this dissolution is happening? No, we are never going to die. The soul is eternal. It's just that the bodies are not there. The bodies are not there. The trees or the animal or the living, the human being, those bodies are not there. But the souls always exist. Soul never dies. So we exist in our soul form. This unmanifested stage is called avyakta. Again, when the entire universe is vanquished, at the end of Brahma's lifetime, there is another avyakta state. But beyond these two unmanifested states is another unmanifested state, the spiritual atmosphere or nature. So we heard that Brahma's night, these lower planetary systems becomes unmanifest. Unmanifest means avyakta. And then again, when Brahmaji dies, this universe becomes unmanifest, avyakta. Now it is said there is another nature. The spiritual nature is there. There are a great number of spiritual planets in this atmosphere, and these planets exist eternally, even when all the planets within this material universe are vanquished at the end of Brahma's life. So we can see in the material world, the universes are being created, and then again they are being annihilated. They are being created and annihilated. But the spiritual world, the spiritual nature, there is never any devastation there, never any annihilation there. And that's the major part of the creation. The majority is the spiritual world. So beyond these two, there are a great number. Planets exist when the planets... Okay, there are many material universes, each under the jurisdiction of a Brahma. And this cosmic manifestation within the jurisdiction of the various Brahmas is but a display of 1/4 of the energy of the Lord. Ekpad Vibhuti. So there are many, many universes. Each universe has their own Brahma. It's not that there's only one Brahma. Our Brahmaji has 4 heads because it's the smallest universe. Then there are Brahmajis with 10 heads, with 100 heads, with thousands heads, with 10,000 heads, depending on the size of the universe, depending on their size. And this whole material cosmic manifestation is just 1/4. It's just 1/4 of the energy of the Lord. Ekpad Vibhuti. It's called Ekpad. This is the inferior energy. Beyond the jurisdiction of Brahma is the spiritual nature, which is called Tripad Vibhuti, 3/4 of the Lord's energy. This is the superior energy of Paraprakriti. So beyond this material sky, this material, the whole material creation, all the universes, that is just 1/4. 3/4 is the spiritual kingdom, Tripad Vibhuti, and that's the eternal. No planets are vanquished over there. Those are the Vaikuntha planets. They exist eternally. And that is beyond the jurisdiction of Brahmaji. In the material world, Brahmaji is there to control the universe. You know, each Brahma, there's different Brahmas, as we said, for each universe. But in the spiritual world, each planet is governed personally. Lord Narayan is there. And there's so many different Vaikuntha planets. And so there's so many different expansions of Krishna there in each of the planets. Each planets have their predominating deity of a form of Vishnu. So that is the superior energy of Paraprakriti. So we'll stop here for today. Are there any comments or questions? No. So this is like giving us kind of a hint to Tripad Vibhuti, Ekpad Vibhuti, like that, to understand that what we are thinking material world is so big, but this is just still very tiny. The major part is in the spiritual world, actually. We'll stop here for today. Shri Isopanishad ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Thank you so much for joining in, for listening in. Thank you. Hare Krishna.